Hey, soul survivors. I had a great topic request from one of my viewers where why does the narcissist stay with the new supply for a very long time sometimes? So we keep hearing about the narcissist, that they're unstable, they like to discard. A lot of times, if they're extremely narcissistic, they can be extremely abusive and people walk away from that. Also, in the beginning, when it's not too invested, it's easier for people to break up. So over time, if they can keep that facade up for a longer period of time where they can do the love bombing, kind of suck you in, it will lead to a longer relationship a lot of times because the person wants to get back to that stage. So you went through that cycle of abuse. You were probably wanting clarification, wanting them to change, trying to discuss things, and they saw it as needy. They could have loved you. They could have communicated with you. So don't think it was your fault. Good communication is essential. Also, did they cheat on you? Did you walk away from that, or did you give them second chances? So there's all the dynamics with you as far as how your relationship went with them. But the narcissist sometimes can be tempted away from a good relationship, in a sense, good relationship. But we got to remember the narcissist has these undeep relationships, so it's easier to walk away. It's easier to be tempted away. So depending on what it is that they feel that they're needing or entitled to. So if they feel they're entitled to a rich lifestyle, they might be tempted away from somebody who has more money, or they feel that they need that image of being successful. Maybe they'll go to somebody who, I don't know, has a father as a CEO and can get them a job. So whatever their need is or desire, they can be tempted away. Sometimes it's just sexual gratification. Maybe the person's a little bit more freaky or reserved. Maybe they don't want certain things, but they can stay in a relationship a longer period of time, depending on their desire to keep the facade up, depending on the other person's boundaries, how well they can test it, how scared they are of losing. So if a person's a millionaire, they might be more scared of losing that security than somebody who, has $200,000 because they can replace that easier. So they can fulfill certain needs of popularity or pretending to be a family person, whatever it is. And also the other person, we don't know this new supply. Are they really happy? When does the cycle of abuse kick in? And there are narcissists that will stay in relationships, sometimes with that low self-esteem. They might feel that they can't do better. So they just suck it up. They just stick it out. Or they get into that cycle where they want the person to reverse discard. So the narcissist will make things so terrible that the new supply will end up leaving. If they would have broken up with them right away, the relationship would be shorter. But a lot of times the new supply is just like you. They wanted it to work out. So they're trying and trying and trying. So as a narcissist is making their life hell, the new supply could be making it more accommodating to the narcissist. So they're going to be, whatever it is, it could be male, female, but cooking or doing laundry or running extra errands to make their life easier, or focusing on their stress or their needs, doing things more sexual, whatever the situation is, that new supply could be going through hell for all we know. They might not have as strong of boundaries, or they might have lower self-esteem to where they feel codependent. They can have that trauma bond. And it all depends on the dynamics. Also, the temptation. Is there other things available to the narcissist to stray from? Sometimes when they make a commitment, they feel obligated to keep it, even if they don't want to, because of family pressures, societal pressures. The narcissist keeps things at a superficial level, and they have to do that. That's their protection. And they also go through a discard devaluation stage. So sometimes they can discard emotionally, physically, or they can stay in the house and just cohabitate, not necessarily have a relationship. They take a lot of things for granted. Everything is about them. So once they feel that their needs aren't getting met, they don't go above and beyond unless they feel that that's the only way to get what they want. So that's when that love bombing stage kicks in. Also depends, what are the resources? Do they have more money now? A lot of times as people get older, they do usually accumulate more wealth. So love bombing, instead of a single rose, they can give a bouquet now, and that might be more effective. Or instead of taking you out to dinner, they can take the new supply out on a trip. So is the love bombing bigger? Is it more attractive? Is the benefit package better to the new supply? So a lot of us get hurt because the narcissist, let's say we said we always wanted to go on a cruise. Now all of a sudden they're going on a cruise. It can be quite hurtful. We're like, this is what I either asked for or planned. I never got it, but the new supply does. And a lot of times it's like the little toolbox that the narcissist has. They hear what we say, they hear what we desire, and they'll use it on the other supply because they feel if it would have worked with you, it'll work with them. And the reason that they stay, it really depends on the narcissist and the new supply. The pressures, the benefits, the ability to hide that mask, the amount of forgiveness, how easy their life is, and, you know, how low their self-esteem is. Like, this is all I can do. I'm not gonna, and sometimes it's just laziness. Like, I don't want to pack everything up. Like, that's a pain in the butt. Or I hate my wife, but I don't want to give her half of what I own, so I'll just stick it out. There's so many different variables, but are they happy? And, you know, does that necessarily mean that the narcissist will come back to you if that's what you're hoping for? We have to realize who the narcissist is. They're abusers, they're manipulators, they're not willing to compromise or to focus on your needs. So in a relationship, for it to work, if I focus on your needs, you focus on my needs, we're both filled. And there does need to be some boundaries, but there's still the cross filling of love. But with a narcissist, it's like that giving tree by Shel Silverstein. You give and give and give till you have nothing left. You are an empty shell and you feel lost. You feel confused. You feel that brain fog. You have that trauma bond because of the brain damage, the neurons and neurotransmitters sometimes not making that connection. So you're starting to become narcissistic and, you know, dismissing people or getting depressed or anxious or maybe snapping at people because you just want to be left alone. That we have to realize what it's doing to us. So a lot of us do focus, and I get it, I've been there, where you focus on the new supply. Why wasn't I good enough? What is it about this new supply? It's just another person, not necessarily better than you. It's somebody to fill a void. And, you know, I know a lot of us really hurt over that. And we feel, why wasn't I good enough? That we have to change our shift, that the narcissist wasn't, in a sense, good enough for us. Even though we saw the beauty in them, we saw the love, we saw everything that we felt, but what we felt was a reflection of ourselves. And it's a really hard concept, but they mirrored us. And in the end, we end up mirroring them. They bring us down to their level. And that's where we start feeling uncomfortable. That's where we start questioning who we are, because the narcissist, that's their comfort level. When they get the love that they should have, they're not used to it. It feels fake to them. It feels sketchy to where they don't trust it. So as trustworthy as you are, as loving as you are, it feels sketchy to them. They also have somewhat of a paranoia in a sense that you're going to cheat or you're going to abandon them, because that's what others have done to them in their life, to where they don't have a sense of security when things are secure. I had a friend, I was working at a place where we were all like dancing on this, like kind of like a stage, and a motorcycle backfires. You hear this big loud pop, and she thought it was a gunfire, and she just shoots out over like 2 tables, jumps off the stage and ducks under a table. The rest of us were startled, but it was ingrained in her to react that way because of her childhood, because all the gunshots she heard in the neighborhood, that she had this intense fear. So we all experienced the same thing. She reacted different because of her experiences. And it's like ingrained in you. It's a part of you. So even if you said, don't worry about it, you hear a loud noise, it's going to be okay, she's still going to react that way. She's still going to be like, whoa, I hear that sound. I don't even want to wait to find out what it is. So with the narcissist, they're reacting. And they're reacting to something that isn't what it is. So she reacted to a sound and related it to a gunfire. That's not what it was. It was a sound. It was loud. It was a motorcycle. Safe. She's inside. It was a loud noise. But in her defense mechanism that kicks in, she relates it to something else. So the narcissist will relate love to something else. And no matter how much you try to explain it, that's what they're going to do in their defense. So when they get stressed or feeling low on supply, they're going to go into that survival mode. Because that lady probably tuned things out and just heard the sound and reacted. She didn't even take the time to look around or where am I? I'm safe. I'm indoors, whatever it is. So the narcissist, when they get in that heightened state, that's the reactive state for them, where they're going to react to it and either cut you down or yell at you, or hopefully not physically abuse you, or manipulate you, use you, whatever it is. That the narcissist lives in survival mode, that they don't go deep enough. So it's easy to discard. So it depends on, the new supply. Do they have any mental illnesses? Do they have low or high self-esteem? Do they have other people putting pressure on them? Like, look, he's a good guy. Don't leave him. He's trying to support you. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And, sometimes people stay in relationships to save face. Or what's their religion? Do they feel connected to where they can't leave because of a promise to God that this is my life now? And I've seen good people stay in relationships because of that. I've also seen, usually narcissists aren't quite religious like that. It's really interesting to see how many are either atheists or not spiritual. Some may be on a journey trying to find God, but if they are continuing to abuse, they're probably not there yet. Narcissists often don't like to change things. It's easier not to. And some relationships can be quick. Some can last for decades. But if you look across YouTube, different comments, there are people who have been in relationships with somebody who is narcissistic for 30, 40 years. And sometimes, you can look at the narcissist, but we also have to look at the victim. Why did they stay that long? And you get that trauma bond, that Stockholm syndrome. And sometimes we overlook the red flags because we care so much. We understand they're having a stressful day. I have a friend who she's with a top dog narcissist, not physical, but emotionally, extremely short-tempered, quick to cut her down, as even told her, why don't you go kill yourself? Like, not just calling her fat or things like that. We're talking go kill yourself. You'd be better off dead, on and on. Extremely hurtful, and gets all those little buttons pushed. But she stays with him and she's like, I understand he had a rough childhood. She's making excuses for him. And it gets frustrating when you try to stand up for yourself. They don't listen, or they come back at you harder. So you get lowered self-esteem when you stay with them. You also realize it's a never-ending battle, that you're never going to win. No matter what you say, the narcissist always has to be right. That's why they blame shift, project, all those things, because they don't want to look within them, because they don't like what's in them. And they just want to be loved. They don't want to grow. They don't want to change. So what's going to happen with this new supply? It depends on who they are, what the resources available, how much that meets the narcissistic's desires or needs, the narcissist's self-esteem, societal pressures, and what else is available. Because they do the monkey branching. If they're low on supply, do they have somebody to cheat with? Are they emotionally cheating? Are they getting their needs, or are they too scared that the new supply is going to leave and eventually their needs are not going to be met, and they're going to stray eventually, whether it's a full breakup or cheating? The narcissist, over time, they go through these cycles, and it's predictable. Kind of like how a woman goes through a cycle. It's predictable. It's going to happen. You have your good days, your bad days. The narcissist goes through a cycle. And we have to realize it's predictable. It's not a 28-day cycle, though. Could be a day. It could be, they're great for 6 months. But it's a cycle that will continue because it deals with brain activity. And when their brain activity is off, they're going to react to it. It's going to bubble over, just like when you guys, after this abuse, have gone through it, to where sometimes you snap at people. You're like, what is wrong with me? Or even, your hormones, if you're female and you've gone through those hormones, you're like, whoa, what's wrong with me? Why did I just do that? That it happens. And sometimes it's hard to control. So the narcissist, they haven't matured, gone through emotional menopause. We can call it that. A little new term, emotional menopause, where now they're mature, don't have to worry about the things that kind of suck. But I hope that's a good analogy of, where they're at. They're not emotionally mature, and they're still in that cycle. And until they mature, that cycle is going to continue. Just like a woman, it's going to continue until they mature. So that's biology versus emotions. But the new supply, are they better than you? No, they're just somebody different. They're just somebody different. And the narcissist with you learned how to manipulate what worked, what didn't. So now that they're with a new supply, they're a more seasoned narcissist. So sometimes it can last longer. But if you look at the divorce rates, how first marriages last longer, second marriages usually don't last as long. A lot of people don't learn from their mistakes. So sometimes it hurts, like they're with this new supply longer than they were with me. That can happen. Or it can be a shorter period of time. Each relationship is different. So don't compare yourself to the new supply. Realize what we can control, what we can't control, and love yourself and focus on yourself. We're focusing on the new supply a lot, and we're comparing ourselves a lot of times. We're comparing ourselves to things we don't even know. So I did a video. If you type in peek inside, it talks about the new supply. Peek inside, it isn't pretty. And I'll try to remember to put that in the comments. That will give you a lot of insight as well. So I hope that helped. And I know it hurts, but it has nothing to do with your self-worth. If you tried everything you could, it was just a toxic relationship. They weren't willing to hear your side, to compromise, and to grow. They kept things superficial and on the defense. When people are on the defense, hurt people hurt people. And the narcissist, goes through bouts where it seems like they're happy. Kind of like if I picked you up and we went to an amusement park, we can have a great time. Or if I took you to the beach today, we could have a great time. But if you're depressed, when we get home, you're probably still going to be depressed. And the narcissist, they can have those great times. They can live in the moment, but deep inside, they are who they are. One-on-ones are available. Topic requests are welcome. And through learning, we can help and heal one day at a time.